are, Augie. Let me know.
Okay.
Would you all please rise and join with me in the pledge? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All the board members are here. So, Jesse, do you want to start us off,
Sure.
please?
So what you guys have in front of you is our end of the month report, or our yearly report through the end of April. We ended last month with 253 total calls for service, 236 of which were completed with either a transport or refusal of care at the scene, averaging out to about 8.5 calls per day, up from our statistics last year at this time. All of our response times still remain within the contractual thresholds. As far as interfacility transfers are concerned, we had 38 in total. 9 were emergent and 29 were non-emergent. We did have 3 structure fire standby requests, either from our local fire department or the community fire protection district. As far as refusals of care are concerned, we had 69 to end the month of April. 33 hospital to non-hospital transports, 6 public aid requests, and 2 scheduled appointment transfers. On the education front, we had a total of 8 classes that were taught, most of which being the American Heart Association based education, along with our high school EMT course, which is coming to its end, touching 87 total students. As far as intercepts went last month, or other mutual aid requests, we did have 15, which is our highest number this year to date. And that's attributable to, we actually found ourselves in Clark County a few times, Kansas and Oakland, which contributed to that number. And then 1 PR event, however, with the warmer weather, we're coming into our busier season with the public, or the PR events. On the second page, the destinations that we transported our patients to, 137 of those patients came locally to RER. Again, 69 refusals of care. 18 patients went to Union Hospital in Terre Haute, 4 to Sarah Bush Lincoln and Mattoon. We did have 3 helicopter rendezvous at our helipad there at the hospital. And then 2 patients went directly to Carl and Urbana. Would like to report to you guys that 1 of the 2 new ambulances that was referenced in the last study session is live. It is in service with the blessing of both the State Department of Public Health and our regional EMS authority. So the second one I hope to have at the end of this month live and in service. So we do have 1 of the 2 up and moving and responding to calls. But that is all I have for you guys as far as that report is concerned, unless you have any questions for me.
Are they single cab or double?
Single cab.
Single. You got a double cab, don't you?
This is the one we've decommissioned, or we are
Okay.
decommissioning, yeah.
The older one then. I got a question on like the treated and refusal. 69. So these are people that called 911,
Yes.
but then 70 of them say, well, we don't need to be transported.
Yeah, a
Or-
lot of times, whether it's a simple lifting assistance request, whether they just need help from one position to another,
Okay.
or some people decide once we get there that they would just prefer be evaluated by us at the scene and
I see.
elect not to be transported
Yes.
to the hospital.
Because they didn't know maybe what was going on.
Yeah,
Once you
yeah,
got there,
and there's
you're
a variety.
stabilized and stuff.
Yes, there's a variety of things that go into that. Sometimes people decide, well, I think we'll just drive ourselves to the hospital.
Okay.
So again, a lot that
Sometimes
goes.
it's car crashes, they just automatically get dispatched.
Right.
And you
And
get
they
there
might
and
not
there's
be
6 people
injuries.
and nobody has an injury.
And so any time that we have a 911 call, we respond and make contact with somebody. If they don't want to go to the hospital, no matter how simple of a complaint
Right.
it might come out as, they're going to do, or it's just a refusal of
Right.
care,
Okay.
because we assess everybody.
Yeah. Just seemed like a high, of course, that's a lot higher than normal,
Yeah.
looking at the numbers there, so, okay, thanks.
Anybody else, please? Thank you, Jesse. Jeremy?
You got your report there, sent to Augie. We had 60 calls last month. Our time's been just over a minute on average. Other than that, everything's going smooth on our end. So, any questions, concerns?
I'm sure it varies, but approximately what percentage of your calls are to the nursing home?
At one point, it was about 30%.
Or-
Yeah, so, and here lately, it's been less. They've called us quite a bit less, so.
Other
Are majority of them in Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any other questions, please? Okay, Jeremy. And you turned in bids?
Yep.
We'll be opening the bids at the next study session on the, what is that, Kelly, what's the date? 24th,
11 and 14 be 25, but that's a holiday. 26th.
26th.
Yep, Tuesday.
So, and then we'll be evaluating those, and then they'll be on the agenda for the June meeting to deal with, okay? All right, well, thank you, gentlemen. Public comments, please.
I'd like to talk about the ambulance services, and I just want to say that Neal Ambulance Service services the northern part of the county very well. And I know that their contracts are up for bid. And one thing that I would ask or be interested in is the county board makes a decision on that ambulance service for the special service ambulance district, is that correct?
What do you
As a
mean?
whole, like you vote, like on awarding the bids
Yes.
as a whole?
Yes.
And also, you guys voted to write the contracts, or the contract's the same, of like the spelling of the contract of where the ambulance service has to be located?
Yeah.
And the type of providers that are there on there, and that's done from the county board as a whole, right?
We voted on that?
We voted on the specifications. They were
No, that's
created.
a committee, that's a committee of the board. The
Okay.
whole
So
board
the
didn't vote.
committee, the committee come up with those. And did we vote, actually, the whole board vote on
We voted to bid the.
a bit,
And then-
but that committee made the recommendations, and that's what the committee sent this out,
Right,
not the whole board.
no.
So we do have an ambulance committee then? I would guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so that ambulance committee consists of how many members of the board that
3.
is part of the ambulance district, the taxing body, the Northern Edgar County Ambulance District?
She is.
So it's you and Jeff, right? And somebody else? Okay. Well, the only reason I'm asking is because when we set up these taxing bodies, I just want to make sure that there's fair representation for taxation of the people that are paying taxes to that service. And if Carl votes to go with Carl Ambulance Service, but I pay taxes to it, I can't vote Carl out of office. I can only vote for you, right? I only have one board member I can vote for. So with that being said, I would ask for proper representation for taxation of any ambulance entity board to include the taxpayers of that district,
Yeah.
if that
Right,
makes
so
sense.
I wouldn't be,
Absolutely.
I would not be on the committee for the other ambulance service.
Which that makes sense, but I'm just saying, if these guys vote for the ambulance service, you're only one voting person, and I can only
Right.
vote you out of office based upon your decisions for the ambulance service. I cannot hold the other ones accountable, which takes us back to representation for taxation. Now, I don't want to muddy the waters, but I do believe that there should be citizens at large from those districts that pay taxes to that ambulance district, or EMS personnel or whatever, to have a good understanding of the level of service that's being provided by that current service and as contracts, and what those contracts stipulate. I don't know if the contracts are the same for Paris ambulance service as they are for the Northern Edgar County, and if not, then why, right? And why would the level of service be less for the people in Northern Edgar County than it would be for the people in Southern Edgar County? And I-
Because when they did the, I can just, Chairman, may I speak?
Yes, please do.
They, when that special service area 2 was established, there was a public hearing. I think 2 public hearings had to take place, and that public comment was taken into account by the then state's attorney that was drafting the original agreement for that.
And I think that's great, so as long as there's representation, and like I said, I think Neil Ambulance does a great job for you. So I'm not griping about that, I'm just saying that if they bid $1 million and that, you know, to be levied, well, I'm just saying, I'm making something up, right? That has to be levied against the taxpayers for their services, and I think some taxpayers should have a say.
Of course, they've already agreed to what they could be taxed. There's a maximum.
It's a maximum that they
And I
can
think
pay.
the board that's gonna exist beyond Carl and I and Dan, I mean, I think that's a good idea that we be very specific about who is on those committees that represents the ambulance service creation or document creation.
Right.
Okay?
You know, I know it was 3 county board members, but should we have maybe a person or 2 from the public?
Well, that's,
I mean, I know it's you know, both of you, the areas you represent are in that area. Andy, I don't, none of your, but,
he did it because he's got experience with
right.
it.
But I didn't know whether we ought to think about maybe someone from the public.
Sure, future board ought to consider that, yes.
Yeah.
I definitely think that'd be a great idea, just have fair representation for taxation.
Because there are people out there.
But I didn't come here for that, honestly, I didn't even know what this
Oh,
study
you're gonna
session
be
was
having
about.
trouble too?
No, sir,
I
No,
do- I
it
do-
is a fair point, it really
Yeah.
is.
And I do encourage you to, because I know that you're traveling out and about, because other county board members are not on those committees, but we do have to vote on the final, contract, and we have to vote on the final, specifics of it, that to always exercise public comment. I know you don't have an issue with that, but, to also encourage people who are in your voting district, because I'm not in your voting district, so
Right.
I would like to hear, you know, from that as well, and I'm sure the oncoming board members, who will be after me will as well.
Yeah, and for one, the Horizon Health, that's 7 townships, right? That are taxed for that service. How many townships are taxed for Neil's service?
5.
5.
Six.
Okay, so it's separate.
Six.
Tax is separate. And tax for Neil's would not be the same as the tax for the other service.
Correct.
No.
Right.
That is correct, sir, and all I'm saying as a citizen, I think we have a right to, you know, help
Yeah.
stand up for those taxes that we're being
And I
charged.
assume that the committee hearings, that when they had it, were advertised, correct? So,
Yep.
I mean, they were made public and published, so.
That's why I'm getting more involved with this study session, so.
Well, no, but I mean, people do need to stay up on this.
And I do want to say thank you for all of you for representing and having that ambulance district, because the way it was in the past wasn't going to be sustainable. So I'm very happy to have a special service ambulance district up there and to have a good service provided to us.
And it was established by quite a large margin of voters. Everybody agreed with you up there and understood it. We just need to attend to business and make sure that it continues to be successful through proper representation.
Don't want any tea parties up in the northern part of the county.
I've got another question.
Yes,
Talking about the Oakland ambulance. It's got a contract with Brockton Fire District, Fire Protection
I
District.
believe so.
So that's the only area they do is the Brockton Fire. So is that more than in Barrows Township?
I couldn't.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, there's like a 2-mile strip into Shiloh Township.
Okay.
Okay.
So those folks do not get taxed by,
They do get taxed.
they pay into the tax for you.
Yes.
So
And
just,
then-
that's the only, just that 2-mile stretch.
And then
Yep.
Kansas is,
And
they're,
then Kansas, is Kansas Fire Protection District?
Which is normally in the state of Illinois, how your ambulance services are funded is through the fire protection.
there are not too many special ambulance
No, I
districts,
think it's us.
special districts.
Maybe
What is
one
there,
more.
3 or 4 in the whole state?
I think the county took that over because fire chiefs and trustees on fire boards didn't realize that they could levy ambulance tax and have their own ambulance, but then But then when they do that, sometimes those levels of services slack.
Right.
Whereas when you go bigger with multi-townships and it's a lot better service, as we can see with what our current situation is comparably
Well,
with
and
what
then
Brockton
some of
does
the-
versus what we do.
Some of the townships didn't want to levy more
Right.
tax.
So I think it's great what we do have is the 2 special service ambulance districts.
Okay. Other questions or comments about this issue before we move on? Okay. Let's see. Guess we'll start with you, Andy.
I'll just comment on buildings and grounds. I guess they had got a leak up at the state's attorney's office.
My office.
Well, no, it wouldn't have been your office then. It would have been Judge Ison's.
No, I can believe Judge Isom's.
Because it was evidently the wind came up, because Ray told me the people involved, but he said state's attorney's office, but that's not state's attorney's office. Well, that's judges and
And that one
Amy.
has leaked before,
Yeah,
but
and
it's been several years.
Ray went up and said, it's not the roof.
It isn't.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know. It's hard to get up there to see, but,
You need to get a caulk done at Clyde.
well, I'll tell you what, I'm afraid that it may be, some of those lintels under the windows. that's-
Oh.
My brother pointed this out to me when I took him up on the roof that time. He goes, you wanna watch that. He goes, because there's places where there's not any grout in those, window lintels. And maybe it's coming in there, I don't know, but we'll get up. I didn't get a chance to get to it last week, but I plan on doing it this week.
More good news.
Yeah, more good news is right. Had something else, but. Oh, I had a guy come look at the clocks. And he went, and he serviced them. I never did get back with you, Archie, but I would, I'm telling you now. I could go ahead and pay that bill, but I don't know that I'm gonna have him do any more. He went, I told him what I wanted to have the clock fixed, and he goes, you don't have any access to the outside. And I said, no. I said, what, do what, you know, give me an idea of what you gotta do to fix it. He says, we need to have someone cut a hole in the clock face. And I said, do you do that? And he goes, no. And I go, well, I'm not just gonna have anybody cut a hole in my clock face. We had those redone, didn't we? You remember that? A couple of the numbers were bad, and we paid to have those faces.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did.
You'd have to talk to Michael, because I think they.
They were the ones who set up, who did
or
that.
Shag.
Shaggy. Shaggy'd be the one to talk to.
Okay.
There used to be a hole in the clock face.
Huh?
There used to be a hole in the clock face. Did they change it?
I don't think any of those clock faces have holes in them.
I
Regardless
stuck
of
my
the,
head out of it when I was a kid, yelling at people down on the street. I know there was a hole in it at one time, but.
I don't know
there
which
still was.
one. I know the one that needs to be a hole in, the one that's not working now, but, Ray unhooked the hands, and the guy said that was a good thing to do, because it could tear up the workings if they got together and then couldn't move, then it,
I know some of the wood up there there wasn't anything left, and you could take it and do this with, you know.
I was 16.
No, I'm talking about here in the last year or two.
I see.
Well, tomorrow we got a meeting with Core.
Yep.
Shaggy will be here, so we
we'll
can talk
find
with
out
him.
from him.
But he gave you the name of another guy.
Yeah, there's one out of Georgia, and there's one out of Michigan. And most of these guys are not necessarily from around here. This guy was from Ohio. But he's in the area doing work. So he said he was in Rockville, Indiana, so he said he'd run by and take a look.
But he charged us.
They charged us, of course, anyway.
This seems to be a good time to bring this up. During our work comp audit, you all need to be aware, and I know Lisa is, that we get charged for anybody that did work. If a contractor did $50,000 worth of work, and they were $5 a hundred, or whatever, a thousand, we get charged for that. If we did not have a
Certificate of
certificate.
insurance.
Even if they're self-employed, they have to have a document from their insurance company that says that that's being waived, okay, that they have insurance.
And
We're not paying any more bills without insurance certificates.
Okay.
Because the taxpayers, if we bid something out or we pay $500, it may cost us, you know, an extra $5 or $50, depending on that. And we can't do that. All they gotta do, any of the, if you call up, what is it, Sycamore, they've got, I think they're okay, but I mean,
Yeah.
we've
They
gotta
say a
have some.
current certificate of.
Yes,
and it isn't just a certificate of insurance, it has to be very specific about work comp.
yeah, at the bottom, there'll be work comp numbers, there's a category where the work comp has to be filled in. Otherwise, for example, we pay about $70,000 a year. Because we were able to recreate all of this stuff and get it in for most of it. They were billing us an extra $80,000 for work comp. Because we couldn't prove, or we didn't have proof in our files that the folks that did work for us had work comp.
Okay.
So we were able to, like I said, recreate that. So I wanted to make sure that when we call folks in, even as board members, that they understand that until, they're not getting paid until they give us the proper work certificates for insurance.
Okay. So I probably better deal with that guy and say, give me your insurance certificate.
If he's gonna charge us a
Is
couple
it
$100.
50,000?
Huh?
It's only above 50,000, right?
Is that the
That's what you
case?
said. If they do at least $50,000
Oh,
worth of
no,
work.
I just use that as example.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Anybody,
If
correct?
they did 5,000, 150,000, they're counting them, depending on what they do for us, there's a category that they charge. Like folks out here, it's $5.50 per thousand, okay? So, it doesn't take very long for that to build up.
Okay.
Anyway, I just want to make sure you guys were all aware of that, so if somebody says something, I mean, it's not something we dreamed up, it's the law in Illinois. And we've been getting by with not having to pay it because they haven't found out on the audit until this year. So, lucky us. Anything else?
Not of buildings and grounds.
You have something else?
No, not right now.
How about you?
I have anything, tried to call Andrew twice, she never answers.
Okay. I talked to her about the roof.
About the
She
roof?
was having the roof, she
Oh,
was
okay.
having the roof done, so.
No, I tried to call her, she didn't answer, so.
Russ, you don't have anything?
Yeah.
Carl? We do need a special, or a closed session afterwards. Samantha?
Couple of things. The work for the courthouse for the 250th.
Yes.
This was sorry, it's the way it printed, but
Oh, yeah,
this
yeah,
is the
yeah.
banners that I sent to you
Mhm.
with the quote. They're about $50 a piece for you to take to this Wednesday's PEDCO meeting. I don't know how many flagpoles the city currently has around, but the quote was for 20, okay? But they can add or subtract from that, but he does need to know by the 25th of this month because they take a lead time on production. This was a AI mock-up rendering that I did of the courthouse with the bunting idea that I had. This is able to be affixed by wire cable that Ray is approved of so that we're not messing with the integrity of the brick. Those are, we would need 12, and those are $54 a piece, so we would need about $650 plus some wire to do that project. I reached
I've got a
out.
question there.
Yeah.
Somebody told me you could not put any shrubs around the base of the courthouse, is that correct?
No,
somebody told me, I just
No.
wondered, something about people would hide in it and do something.
No.
Okay, I just wondered.
The flood lighting that is the uplighting in the landscape around the courthouse, this is the light fixture. I got a hold of the company, asked them if they had a colored lens or they could change out the bulbs to be colored. That was a no-go, but their tech support in India told me that I could use colored, these are called Roscoe color sheets. So like in a theater, when they change lights on people, they use these Roscoe high-dense color sheets to go in front of the lights. I don't know if we want to try them and risk melting onto the light. They claim that it won't, but that's a county board decision. I at least ordered the Roscoe color sheets for y'all to have. So that is where we are on that project from my perspective, if you have more to add to that. And then Jeff, this is the entire county's hazard mitigation, just the county's section. So, I don't know if Jill or any of the townships or any of I just asked Aaron from the county highway if they're gonna write for any of these projects, but I wanted to pass this along since I won't be on the board when those are awarded. And then, Philip, in your packet, Philip had rewritten the intergovernmental agreement for the 911 board, between the county board and the 911 board. You should have it in your packets. It's 9 pages.
Yes.
Some of the changes included some language around disputes. And then the big negotiation point was the payment. They were at 28% of a certain number of dispatchers and then 100% of other amounts of dispatchers. And so I had made a plea to make it 45% across the board. That does lower the payment by about $10,000.
You said 45.
45. I think it's 45.
It was 45 and you changed it to 40.
Okay, yes, I had did some calculations, and if they had, what their payment was, it would have been at 45%. We lowered it to 40, which gives them about a $10,000 this year break on that. But it does have a clause in there too, not to exceed 5% annually of an increase. So you will be asked on Wednesday to approve this pending the approval of next Monday's 911 board agreeing to this. The chairman would be able to execute this if next Monday the 911 board agrees to that. Any questions about that?
So we're waiting to see if they approve.
Correct.
We're gonna
They've had
pre-approve
it.
this.
We'll pre-approve it.
Yeah. We'll
Pending their-
authorize the chairman to execute it.
Okay.
So we didn't have to have another meeting.
Their negotiation committee met with us when this was drafted.
And they couldn't speak for the entire board, so the entire board has got to
Okay,
say
approve
yes
it,
or
and
no.
then-
Okay.
Yep.
So, in addition to the percentage, the changes are on page 6 through the top of 8.
There was a section on there about,
Disputes.
the Philip added Article 5, which is the bottom of page 5, the indemnification and force majeure. And then, the Article 7, which starts on page 6, and it's the right to cure and the dispute resolution. There was a tiny sticking point with the right to a trial by jury if it got to that point. Hopefully it would never get to that point, but,
It's in
so-
there.
But it was added in there for their request. So those were about the only changes.
The big one is the 45 to 40.
Yeah, yes.
And then obviously, then when we bill, we have to provide adequate
Mhm.
documentation.
We have
for-
to invoice the ETSB
Right.
and, with the documentation, and then they will, they did agree on a quarterly payment. There was some discussion that they would go to an annual payment, but they wanted to keep it a quarterly payment, assuming that they approve this agreement on Monday.
Yes,
So how are you gonna get that quarterly, you're gonna have to do calculations every quarter on what the previous quarter was?
yes. And Don will have that. Yeah.
So the quarter, is it gonna end on like December, February 28th? And then the next month, or next time be March 31st in the middle of a pay period?
Well, they're paying retroactive, so we would take the data from December, January, February, and we would invoice it in March. And then they would have to act on it in their April meeting.
Right, but, so you're gonna have to have the payroll lady figure out, it's gonna change every quarter.
Yeah, Don will probably do that.
So your concern is calendar versus payroll period?
Right.
Yeah, because this doesn't say payroll period.
Right.
You know, it would be easier if we said, you know, because there's 52 week, or 26.
26 pays, which is
Payroll.
divisible by 4.
But it's gonna be a little bit of a nightmare trying to figure out on every time it's gonna change, because it's gonna be in the middle of a pay period and.
But it shouldn't be any different than this code report that we're getting, this fund status report. Because they're, like, this one's in the middle of a pay period too. So the software that he has, correct me if I'm
One
wrong,
month,
Jeff, should
so-
be able to spit it.
Sorry.
Well-
1 month, or 1 quarter will be more, the next quarter. could
Yeah,
be
it's gonna change
substantially-
constantly, be
Substantially
changing.
less.
Right.
Yeah, we don't have to reinvent the wheel on that.
Just
Well,
based on where we are in the.
We're
payroll
having a
cycle.
meeting Wednesday morning with the payroll lady, and we need to run it by her, because she might,
Well, Don's the one that'll figure that out. Don figures it out for
Well-
me now.
we need to have a discussion about that. I just see it extra work for people.
Okay.
I mean, if it's not that much work, but versus the way we're doing it now, you know, because when we, at the end of the year, they, what's it called?
Reconcile.
Yeah, to get it actually not November 30th. you
Right.
know.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
yes. Now I get
Prorate?
Well,
No.
Not prorate?
it. No, it's the
We know
type
what
of accounting we're on.
Yeah, accrue.
Accrual, yeah,
Yeah.
we have to accrue it, and so the end of the year would clean up all everything.
Right, you know, so we need
That
to
should
have.
come in your February payment. Like if you, right, like if you're, or I'm sorry, your January payment, if you're billing December, then it's gonna come in your January, and you should be able to close your accrual at that time.
We just, I want to check, make sure it's not causing a bunch of extra work for people, you know, because it's not
Yeah,
a,
Nancy wouldn't have that stuff. Okay,
okay, well, I go to her for all the information I need to get on.
well, she just prints you off a report. Donna's the one that would actually, she doesn't prorate or do accruals on payrolls.
But like in the middle of a pay period, Don's not gonna have that, because,
I'm saying you don't worry about that.
Yeah.
You just pay it. So 1 month might be, or 1 quarter might be,
From this pay period to this pay period.
well,
and
if
then
you
the
do it
next
by
month.
pay periods, that makes it simple.
right,
But if you, by quarter,
well.
technically what this says is quarter,
Okay, like we've been through 10.5 payrolls right now,
right?
okay? So if we figured it now, but it, so,
We'll figure it out.
yeah, it's,
I just don't want to cause bunch of extra work for people.
So what's the financial
To make it
impact
simpler.
of that reduced, reduction of 5%
Obviously,
a quarter,
you know, it's-
20%?
we've got $196,000 in there, and it's gonna be reduced down to,
It takes out $10,000 annually.
yeah. So, I mean, it should be okay, but, you know.
It will have to come up with from somewhere.
Yeah,
And, I mean, this is for the time being, you know, we're having discussions,
Which we've talked about here.
you know, looking into the joint dispatching, and, you know, if the city
This
gets
will all
involved
become
and more
moot.
people, then, you know, we're gonna have to obviously come up with a different agreement. If we ever get to that point.
Well, thank you for all that work.
That's it, that's all I have.
That's all you have?
Yep.
Okay, Lisa.
You betcha. So to continue on Samantha's work, thank you very much. Have had a couple of conversations with Kelly Toon, President of the Park Board. And I had forewarned her. I said, you know, I can go down into the weeds and I can do something all the way to the end of the project, but this one I'm more of a throw it out there and let's see who all wants to become involved and where it goes. And, so she and I have talked, and she had some ideas about making a committee that has representatives from several different groups on it. She's like, when do you want this done? I said, sooner than later. There is no deadline. It definitely needs to be done for the full summer and last and go throughout Honeybee and Shrine.
Shrine's June 12th, or June 10th,
Yeah, okay, I got those backwards, Shrine and Honeybee.
so the deadline would be to have it done before that.
Yeah, so she had a city council meeting she had to go to, so she couldn't be here tonight. But she had some questions. Can we utilize the same crew to place the patriotic displays as the holiday displays? I don't really have an opinion on that.
That's done by
It's city does.
the city. Mhm.
Okay.
That's,
When you're saying, you're talking about light posts.
Like, yeah, because I
City
had
does
shared
those,
that.
and I don't
And
know.
then who puts the swags up, which she too had done some AI work. And, who would put the swags up? Because if we went her way,
Swag-
it would be a man lift. If we did your way, it
That-
would not be a man
Swags,
lift.
yeah, swags on the courthouse.
Uh-huh.
I said, I'll grab Ray and we'll put them up.
but
Because I kinda wanna see
This
how
is,
they
this
go
is
up there.
ambitious.
Well, and
I
I
don't
can tell
wanna
you,
know
like,
what they
I didn't wanna
attach
put it
to.
in that text, because I didn't know who all those numbers were. But that top row is affixed to a guttering, and they will not allow us to fix to the guttering.
Okay.
You ain't touching that copper gutter.
And then that was again, this is just AI of lighting up the top,
Yeah.
which was really all I
It's
wanted.
neat.
I want to light up the top and put on some swags. And then we just go from there, and somebody wants to put things on light poles, and
I don't know if the light at the top, I love that, and I want that too. I wanted them, to
Right.
be too red and
I
too
don't think
blue.
we can actually do it this way.
No.
No,
But I don't even think that we can get out to those lights to affix those
Yeah.
films to it. That's why I was thinking the ground up
Mhm.
lighting could potentially be an option
Right,
for you.
or is there enough room, over the entrances to put them up there so that they can't be vandalized?
put what up there?
Lights that would shine up. Kelly and I were also talking about how could you put lights somewhere so they couldn't be vandalized?
Depends on what you want to illuminate.
You want to light the top.
Couldn't
Because
count.
it's white, it doesn't look very exciting to light up sandstone.
I think Ray has had, of course you said, what's his name, the electrician, is
And
Bennett.
He's been
Switch out the-
Change the lights.
Huh? He's got up there and changed those lights.
Yeah.
But is he back in the saddle?
Oh, I think he's still out.
Yeah. So I need, I'll get with Ray and see how he did that. I don't know if you could pull those lights in. It's a piece of,
They're bolted to an arm.
yeah. I don't know how he sure didn't crawl out there and do it. He might have,
That's the only way, because it's
But you
bolted
could-
through that.
that strut,
That metal
that
corner.
metal strut.
Mhm.
Yeah. I said I'd get out there and do
No,
it. Smack the token.
no.
Okay, so Kelly and I need to set a date to get started. Would you, if you were available, would you join us? And would you join us?
The only other thing that I had thought of, and I think I put in that text, I wasn't sure if I did or not, was, I did get pricing on some ceramic, some blue ceramic, like 24-inch planters. They were $180 a piece, I think. I know Jeff, just creek over there. And we would need 12. But if, the parent, like, I think there's a community garden club or like a,
There's the Be Well,
No,
and then there's the old Lady Garden Club.
community garden club, the historic, garden, anyway, where you do the garden tours through with them. If they would want to sponsor an actual planter and then put red and white flowers in it on the ledges. But that was the only other thing that I thought. I got pricing on the banners, I thought I might be able to sneak $650 past creek over there, but I don't know about the rest.
Well, and then Kelly had also said we have the Chamber, PIO, and the Edgar County Monster Mash team that might help as well, which looks like the Monster Mash event this last weekend was pretty fun. So, we need to, it's time to get moving.
Yeah, I will just need to know, like, those are gonna be a yes or no at the TEDCO meeting. If those are a no at TEDCO, then we're gonna have to ixnay on the banners, because that company needed a 6-week lead time.
How much are we on?
For the buntings or the banners?
Buntings.
The buntings were $50 a piece, and we needed 12, so it was $600 plus shipping.
And how much are the things on the light post?
They were about 20 a piece. No, I'm sorry, they were 50 a piece, and I think we needed 20 that I could count, but I don't know where all the city puts them. I just kind of quickly did a count around the courthouse.
Okay.
I don't know how far they line Main and Central with those banners.
Okay.
So if we are in a hurry, which we kind of are, Jeff, can we just order everything and see if we can get reimbursed?
Yes.
Okay. There you go.
Okay.
Order away, Samantha.
Okay. And do I contact,
I don't know how that works, but
Chris, who's the guy at the city? Is it Chris Redmond?
Redmond.
Okay,
Yeah.
about getting those
And say, look,
installed.
we'll pay for the banners if you'll help us put them up.
and then maybe we'll get a group to actually pay for the banners.
That'd be great.
How's the GoFundMe work?
We're not doing a GoFundMe, they're gonna send you a tax certificate at the end.
What GoFundMe does?
Yeah.
We're tax exempt.
Not the GoFundMe, we're not. So, they send you a 1099 at the end of the year.
We'll send them a tax exempt.
Don't argue with that.
Come on, you've been around for how long? You should know better. Okay.
You have enough work doing helping me hang those buntings. We gotta get those buntings hung before trying
I think that'll be
again.
neat.
It
Me
will.
too.
It
It'll
will,
make it
and
look
we'll
really
just see
nice.
what people come up with from there. So, Kelly and I were talking about timing, and she's like, well, you just can't do anything up there on 4th of July, because that's all gotta stay out at the park. I'm like, okay. So, and like, who would come to the courthouse when you could go be at the park? So, we don't need to try to do that. But then, she's talking about the group that's doing the Union Street Market stuff, but that's, maybe they would want to do something on the square as well. Or at least it's close by and there would be visibility. So,
I did see that UCCI thank you Augie, sent us a thing that they are encouraging celebrating America's 250th birthday, and they wanted any photos that we did or whatever sent to their site.
and Jasmine does an awesome job of taking pictures. Okay, next on the list. Just keeping that on my list, health insurance quotes. We're kind of at a standstill at the moment
Yeah,
because of timing, right?
Right, I sent that
Okay.
information to Kurt. He did send some information, which is Greek, but I'll look through it. I was hoping he'd give a little bit of what his feelings were on it.
Precinct maps, we had talked about that, maybe the last study session that
But
was it.
Augie wasn't available to talk to about it,
That's right.
so maybe we need to key in him what we're talking about.
This had come up at a question of a Republican committee, that is there the possibility of doing some updated maps or some, and I don't know that they really changed. And you had said they were free the last time and now it would cost. And that's all.
The basic map is I don't wanna say interactive, that might not be the right word, but you can zoom in and zoom out. So, but that's, there's a lot of lines on that map, and it's kinda hard to tell exactly where the precinct boundary lines are. So,
That's where the issues are, is
Yeah.
not knowing where the boundaries are. I mean, I've got a map, I can't, you're right, I can't tell where the,
yeah,
there's boundaries around the entire thing, and I can't tell where that is.
Like, if the boundary line goes down court, does it both sides of court, or this side and that side,
yeah,
or?
it doesn't go that deep.
Okay.
It doesn't go that deep,
It-
but there's county board districts, there's township districts, there's precincts, there's a lot on that, and again, it was free, and so we didn't pursue it any further, but
What is do you know what the cost is of getting those split out?
that I don't know that, I knew it was gonna be several $1,000s more.
'Cause you,
And I get a few requests for that, but once they ask a question, we can pretty well find the answer for them. Just by doing a street search.
Okay.
So you're wanting
In a
the
range.
like Paris precincts?
Yeah, so it doesn't apply to me, but
Right.
if Russ wanted to know what his boundaries were, or if this and that household was in his precinct, if he was a precinct committeeman, then they would just come to you to ask for those details?
Yeah, again, probably the easiest way is we can do a search from a number to a number on Grandview Street, for example. Or you ask me, hey, so-and-so, we're just, so-and-so lives on this address, what precinct is that? I mean, that's easy to do. That's easy to do, but as far as a visual, that's where it gets
That's the
more
hard part.
complicated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Courthouse generator, any more conversation needed on that topic?
probably need it.
We're gonna have a meeting with Ross, but we've got other issues we gotta talk with him about on computers and this and that, so we're gonna be setting a meeting up with him.
Okay, I'll just keep it on my list.
Now, are you talking about the old courthouse, or the old jail generator?
Yes.
That was the last conversation that we had
Right.
had, was
But we
repurposing
talked about,
that.
if, put it up the courthouse, put it down there, we're hooked up by fiber between the two, and then what computer system's gonna be run off of what when the old jail leaves,
Right.
there's several issues.
Phil, did you and Andy Kite talk any about, about where union labor, where any of that statement would come into play on any of the contracts?
No, I
Ordinance, I should
haven't been
say.
able to get a hold of them, but I will give them a call again tomorrow at the office and see if I can maybe give an update on Wednesday.
Okay, and then, I think there were some, thanks to Samantha, there are some minor changes to wind and solar ordinances that I believe need to be made, and then more conversation on standalone battery and, batteries, what am I trying to say, data centers. So I really think it's just you and he talking at this point. I feel like I've you've maxed me out as far as what I know and what my knowledge is. And at this point, then if there are changes, then I'm envisioning you're saying, okay, I made this small change to the wind ordinance and we need to go through that process. Whitetail Solar Project, the one down this side of Grandview. The developers sent an email to Jeff and me, and they are putting together a meeting. We don't have a notification yet, just that they did find a location within the township, and so they are going to be sending out notifications to landowners and residents in the area, so that is moving forward. Carl, you went to the one at St. Mary of the Woods.
Mhm.
Anything you need to share on that one?
No, other than Ranger Power, they have 2,000 to 3,000 acres leased in Indiana. They had an informational meeting over there like we had last summer at the high school with APA Power. There was quite a few people there. There was Illinois people there. But it was just an informational thing. They had stations set up just like they had with us. But they've been in conversations with the mayor, city council, or county council, commissioners, the planning commission in Indiana. The planning commission is the ones that handle the permits that are needed over there versus, like here, it's the county board. But last I heard, I think this summer, they're planning on going to the planning commission to get a permit. They're also pursuing and have ground leased on the Illinois side. And possibly, depending on how things go, maybe by the end of the year, they might possibly be doing something here.
They
And
haven't reached out to me, so.
no, I've been keeping him informed, told him that, if at some point when they do need to set something up to contact you. But they're planning on eventually the Illinois, Indiana, because it's all, it's all kind of together. One big project of 3 plus 4,000 plus acres.
Was there one denied in Gibson City, not very long ago, solar farm, 20-some acres, it's in the Champaign paper, stayed there in Gibson City.
Yeah, but I
Denied.
think that one was within the city's purview.
Like,
And it was-
one was 300 feet from a house or something like that too, but it was denied.
Yeah, and there's one up at Catlin that, but I think that those are the cities, the towns that are denying them. It's not their county boards. Payroll compliance meeting at 8 o'clock. You're on that too, right? 8 o'clock Wednesday. And I'm really sorry, you're not gonna be able to be there.
That's it, that's at the courthouse. Or
Government center.
it's at the government center?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's our first official meeting of that combined, because it's two different topics, one meeting, one committee, payroll and compliance. And JR was gonna try to be there to make sure that we set up, I believe that's right, that we set up a structured checklist for insurance certificates to make sure that we were capturing what we need, so that we don't get into that jam in the future.
And did I email you our checklist? It's like 5 pages.
I
so-
think you did, yeah.
It's really robust. I think I sent it to you and Nancy, and I don't expect it to be the same, but at least you have everything like that we
Right.
have to have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's great. So that'll help get us organized. And I think that's all I have.
Any questions, please?
So we're meeting at the government center at 8 o'clock. We have our meeting at 9 o'clock at the courthouse, so you don't anticipate, okay.
So at HRC at 7, they said 8.
stacking it.
Stacking them.
Andy, I recall having to hold up a whole solar ordinance hearing because you were late, so I don't think we'll have a problem holding up a county board meeting either.
Yeah, we did like an hour more on you. We waited over an hour for you.
Damn
What
dog.
was the reason?
Where's your dog?
That was the dog.
Yeah.
It was legit.
Emergency came up.
I said champagne.
I retract my statement.
I remember.
Boy, are you bad.
I'm glad there weren't any police on the road on the way back.
Okay, I've got a few things. Actually, I have 11 items. So I'm competing with you, Lisa. Dina and I talked, he's gotten some correspondence about this. The appeals this year were roughly 170 versus the normal year of 60. So they're getting through them as quickly as they can and appropriately. The board members, the appeals board is doing a good job and they're very dedicated. So the cutoff for that was last Friday. So, and they're working through the list and they're still looking at being able to make the deadlines so that Augie can do his thing and we can get the bills hopefully out in July. But that's all fluid, but I wanted to let you know where we're at on
So the bills will go out, first bill will go out in July. Hopefully.
that. We'll see. I mean, it just
That's the
depends
earliest.
on correspondence to Augie. Augie's dependent on people responding to his inquiries, right, Augie?
That's correct.
So, I mean, everything's, gotta work. The other thing is, talked to the sheriff a couple of days ago, and he was interested in involving another lock company. We're gonna deal with that tomorrow with the core meeting, but we already have the locks all bought. And I explained to him that, if we're spending, and I'm just making up the figure, if we're spending $30,000 on a set of locks and already have it bid and ordered and here, we don't wanna spend another $30,000 for another set of locks.
Is he wanting that guy that did the work up there?
Yeah, so, I mean, they didn't bid on it,
Yeah.
so, at any rate, and he can maintain them, but at any rate, I just want to make you aware of it, and we're gonna deal with that. I'll skip over joint dispatch for a minute. The audit, you all received the audit in the, internet. Well, you've got the, management letter in there.
Right, just the management
Right,
letter.
but you received via email the actual audit. So, Carl, I think we have a copy, do we have a copy for
Yes.
Carl there? Because you're special, Carl. And, at any rate, just to review a couple things that I think we all want to know about, is IMRF. The regular IMRF is funded at 98%. The, jailers are, which is a separate category, is funded at 99%. And the older IMRF, which is for some of the office holders from the past, is actually funded at 102%. So we're doing well there.
That Echo.
Echo, yes, thank you, Carl. Also, our fund balance for the general fund went from a $711,000 to $1,043,000. Okay? So we had an increase there on the fund balance, which is.
Say that again.
We went from 711,000 in '24, FY '24, to 1,043,000 in '25. Okay? Now, there's other things that you can look in there about, but, and we need to deal with the management letter eventually, because there's some things that we can do and the new board members need to be aware of, because there are cash accounts out there that are not controlled by the treasurer. And basically, the law says that the treasurer shall be the keeper of all funds for a county. At this point, they don't judge it as being a problem, but it's something that the new board needs to make a decision on. We worked it out with the department heads in the past and said, you know, everything was fine, but it does leave some exposure, okay? So, at any rate, there's,
Question.
yes.
Is that something we need to talk about at the next department head meeting? Or is that a county board discussion?
I think that that's a county board discussion, and you need to talk to the couple, it only affects, I think, what, 3 offices, maybe 4 offices. So, I mean, we don't need to drag everybody into the thing, okay? And I mean, and quite frankly, some of the office holders have pleaded their case and it's been done this way for years, and there's been no problem. And the board may not change it, but they at least need to know about it because there's 4 new members, okay? So they need to at least talk about it.
Is it written down somewhere what those, is it in this report?
Yeah, it's in the management report. It's one of the recommendations. They don't say it as plainly as probably what I
Yeah,
did.
it is.
Oh, on that last page there.
Go ahead, what? All right. Record storage, I'm gonna pass around. We went ahead and we're gonna do record storage in the jail. And we've got the sliding, this is what it's gonna look like. We're not filling up the room, but the bid was, or the cost was $27,000, and we have that in the budget to be able to do, but that's what we're gonna do, so we have decent storage in the jail, okay?
And what records are required to be stored? And so is that kind of like what Angie
Risk
deals with?
records, all that, no.
Only, I mean, it's the same concept,
Carl
though
can
there's a
probably
period
tell
of
you
time
better.
and some forever? Is that why we need all the record storage?
I know Jeff was saying the other day, like, where they need access quite a bit, they've got them stored downstairs, but then they've got 3 different places, depending on how often they get to it and how,
Here is the room, okay? There's gonna be a section here, permanent. There's gonna be a section here, permanent. And then you're gonna have, we're ordering 3 sections that basically do this. Right.
So paper records have to be retained, that they cannot be electronic? Is that the situation?
As far as I know, I mean, I recall that being the case, don't you?
Yes, but again, I don't play an attorney on TV, so
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm
This is-
used to
this is
everything was
expandable?
paper.
Yes,
when I
and
dealt with
this is expandable, yes.
So we can't add more
Absolutely,
cassettes or whatever
yes.
you call
You
them.
can add, I think, 3 or 4 more sections.
And talking to Jeff the other day, he said he thought what he wanted initially was ample, more, like 3 times what he's got now.
Well, at any rate, and it's gonna have 2 walls and then 3 moving units, okay? So I just wanna make you aware of it. Let's see, record storage. Got, budget. You've got a copy of the budget there. And please note that we actually have more payroll in there than what we should have because of the way, well, what we were talking about earlier. So, and it's hard when you're dealing with percentages and so forth to know that it's a lot closer than what we've had in the past. So, I think the COs, or the correctional officers, are the ones that are a little high,
Yes.
okay? And maintenance is high on the deputies' cars. And maybe we didn't budget enough, but I think we're almost, what are we at, almost 100%?
Yes, we're 100% in it.
So,
Nice.
yes, we need to have them stop hitting deer.
Yeah.
or cows.
Yeah, we've had some.
Anyway, look through this. This is as of April 30th, okay? The sign on the jail. You notice there's a metal sign now on the jail and it doesn't show up much. Depending on what you want done, not by core, but they can set us up with the painter to put the correct color paint on it, and it'll be fine.
Oh, that's what, because I was looking and thinking, I don't know what the deal is, I can't hardly read it.
Well, they thought that the concrete finish was gonna be a different color than what it wound up being. So, it's a lot, there's not enough contrast. But
Right.
like if you decided to go ahead and do blue paint, it's no problem. We can get it painted. And that way it would set out. If you want, I'm just saying that's an option.
I think you need something.
It's pretty subtle.
It is.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether there was gonna be lighting that would, okay, so we can paint it.
Yeah, we can paint it. The other thing is, if you wanted to put emblems, we could have the graphic design, like the guy in town, do a large emblem and put it on the dark blue that would stay. And that would look kind of cool, if you wanted
Is
to
there no
put-
backlighting behind the silver letters? Is there, I mean, is there?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so, okay. I haven't been by it at night, so I don't know.
Okay. 911, the engineers, just in case this is more or less for us to think about, but for tomorrow, but so everybody knows, we don't have to put in a sub-panel anymore for 911 because they went with fuses and it only has to be single phase. And that will handle, they took instruments on there to measure
Right.
all of downtown, to measure all of the needs and so forth. And so they've redesigned within our system, it's not gonna cost anything, okay?
That's
It is-
for UPS.
Right, and it's, well, we are putting in the UPS.
Yeah, but that was what was gonna cost, what, 20,000 or
Well, 30,000.
30,000.
Right, and, I lost one. I'll think of it here in a minute. The other thing is the fiber for the dedicated lines is now scheduled to go in by this 26th of July. Okay, and it's already been ordered and it's coming through, so all of that. And of course, when we move out of the jail, the 911 is gonna lose the capacity for communications out of there. Their dedicated line will disappear. So we gotta be very cognizant of the fact when we do all of that, that's gotta be coordinated so that we don't pull that out or that isn't shut down and it, before we're ready to assume the movement over here. So, and that fiber is roughly $30,000 cheaper than what we originally thought at 70. So, we're talking 35 to 40 grand to get that put in. Let's see. I think that's it. We've got a couple things. What do you want to talk about 911 joint dispatch at this point? We were asked to make sure that everybody is on board with moving ahead with negotiations. Not a final, obviously the board would have to approve the final determination on it, but Carl, am I saying it wrong?
No.
Or you've got
Go
different
ahead,
opinion about it?
No, go ahead.
Well, we want to move to the place where the city and the county go together and out of the dispatch over here, and they have joint dispatch. We met with I didn't, but Carl and who else met with the dispatchers the
The
other
sheriff's
day?
committee met with the dispatchers, had a 2-hour meeting with them, went real well. We discussed a wide variety of things. They're all, well, they weren't all there. But in general, they want joint dispatch.
I've talked to Terry. Terry, have you talked to Terry today yet?
No,
Terry's waiting for your phone call to see when you wanna get together with him.
yeah,
He is very much, he is committed to,
talking about Terry, the police chief.
right, he had told me that he is okay with the joint dispatch,
Right.
so,
But we want to set up a meeting with Terry
well, that's my understanding anyway.
to talk to him about,
Have you,
He's got that same thing that I told you about. He still thinks that's just his opinion of how it should be.
but yeah, we want to sit down and talk with him, find out, you know, what they expect, you know, from, you know, if we take it over, what they want us to do, how they want it handled. The call volume that he has, we want to look at their total expense, current expense, so we can start throwing some stuff together to see how it will all blend together. The sheriff, we've had some meetings. Jeff and I have had some meetings with some incoming county board members who are concerned, want to understand what's going on. I think, and we've had meetings, that meeting included Rich Wilson, the incoming sheriff. I guess it's not determined for sure, but more than likely he's gonna be our new sheriff. He's all on board with it. Our 911 coordinator has been to those meetings, so making it clear so everybody feels involved, understands. You know, we listen for different perspectives on things. So, I mean, I think things are moving in the right direction to improve on things. Obviously, the white, I think everybody understands this White Oaks call, that if we would have had joint dispatch, a lot of the possible problems could have been avoided. So I think everybody's on the same page that we want joint dispatch, just we gotta figure out how we're gonna get it to all work together.
yeah, I had talked to Rich yesterday and he had talked to the chief, and that's, so we're talking, well, I'll talk to you later. All right, because,
But yet, we just wanna sit down and talk with Terry, you know,
Yeah.
that's just like the other day, we talked with the dispatcher. Just sit down and talk, you know. I think it was very positive, the conversation, you know, we understand things better, they had no, you know, they keep hearing rumors about this and that, you know, they say, well, they hear rumors, they're gonna walk out, well, they say, we're not gonna walk out. So, if you sit down and have a conversation, I think it can all be worked out. But if you don't sit down and try to talk, nothing's gonna happen.
I'm just gonna make a suggestion, because frankly, my feelings are hurt. When you sit there and say that everybody's voice should be heard and at the table, why are these meetings not open meetings and why are they not posted meetings? Because I'm
Well,
not.
I didn't call any of the meetings, for one thing.
Who did?
No, I didn't.
Who did?
Rich Wilson.
Okay.
and there's, as long as there's no more than 2 board members there, it's not considered a public meeting.
I can respect that, but also I think that that's being used as a crutch and an excuse. Because you're using new board members, prospective board members, to weigh in on decisions that they don't have the capacity to weigh in on right now. Now, do I value them and do I want your opinion there? Absolutely.
That's the whole reason they're
100%.
here, is to listen to what their concerns are.
Right.
But they hear from people in the public that are
But so
upset
do
about
I.
things. And
But so do I, and I'm on the board.
So, a lot.
Yeah, and so I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't
Right,
know,
both
I didn't
sides.
even know a meeting occurred,
Right.
didn't
Both
even know
sides.
any of this happened. Don't even know that that's going on. It looks pretty bad on us as a unified board when the other people don't know anything about
well,
it.
we were,
It is not a county board. We didn't call the meetings, we were invited to them. individually.
Then I would suggest that you let the person who's calling the meetings know that it's a good idea to involve all of the board.
Well, then if we get all,
Then we have to post the meeting.
that's true.
Yeah, and then maybe we would get public comment, maybe we would have the people that, if it's gonna be a joint dispatch, we've got Hume Fire that gets dispatched from there, we've got Chrisman Fire that gets dispatched from there, we have Kansas Volunteer Township that gets dispatched from there, Brockton, maybe they want a voice at the table, I'm not being argumentative, I'm trying to, this is the world that I live in, so these are the people that are calling me as a board member, I need to be able to speak transparently about what's happened instead of going, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about that.
But we filled you in a lot.
Well, I get calls and I know nothing about what to tell
Well,
them.
we've had 2 meetings, and it's just to start to, listen to those things, and at some point, there's gonna be more involvement.
There has
But,
to be.
yeah, I mean, it's not like this group is gonna go out and make all the decisions, and then we're gonna come back and say, county board, this is what we're gonna do. That had nothing to do with it. That is not,
Has
My
anybody
plan.
listened to the calls? You get on the Ferris Police Department, it gives you 3 calls, the 911 calls. Actually can listen to the calls. Anyone done that?
yeah.
Okay, just wondered. Just wondered.
Listened to him several weeks ago with Jesse
Right.
and Taylor.
Yep.
I don't like getting calls. I mean, honest, I don't like getting calls and going, I don't know anything about it.
What do they, I mean, let's just get down to it. What are they asking and who's, I mean, do you know that?
What happened at the meeting? I'm like, I don't know, what meeting? I'd at least like to know that you're gonna have one, and so that
I
I'm
don't understand
prepared.
who would ask about it. How would they even,
Did we have a
That's
meeting?
the problem, is lots of people
I
are
don't remember
talking,
that.
and then it's getting leaked around and things are getting pushed out, and the people that are there aren't necessarily in all of our meetings to tell us the truth about what was being
the
said.
truth?
I don't know.
So, tell us a recap, I guess that's a better word, a recap of what was had. When you go, we've not had a study session for 2 weeks, but there's been other meetings in between, and so on the off weeks, when you're getting calls and saying, hey, how come we didn't know about this meeting? Well, I'm sorry, I didn't know about that meeting.
But
There has to be a starting point.
there does, and it's a hot topic
It's like
right
a
now.
kernel
Yes,
of
it is.
corn,
Still hot
okay?
topic.
Yeah.
Still hot topic.
Well, and there's a lot of stuff, but you're not gonna stop that by telling, we could invite them to all the meetings of the world, Dan, and they're still not gonna understand what's
I know.
going on. But if we could plant a kernel of corn, it has to grow a little bit before it really starts to take root. All we're trying to do is get enough to see if there's enough interest and go from there. No major decisions are being made.
And no
Understood.
decisions are being made.
Right.
That's right. But,
Okay.
It's just nice to have that transparency on the front end, to know, hey, we're gonna start
We're
these
gonna have a
talks,
meeting,
we're gonna do
A lot
this.
of rumors, a lot of speculation, but nothing
Well,
concrete.
most of that revolves around 911 rather than the people. Well,
So is
we
there
need
another
to know
scheduled
whether,
meeting?
but the philosophy we want to know is, does anybody have a problem with the concept of joint dispatch? That's all we're asking. We're not asking whether we're gonna have it eventually, but if a majority of us doesn't think the joint dispatch is a good idea to explore, then we might as well not do it. The whole idea is to economize and to make it work better for the city and the county. And that's, but we wanna know whether anybody objects to that on the board.
How does Chrisman Police Department get dispatched currently? Is it through the county? It is, I didn't know, I'm just asking.
The only agency in the county that isn't dispatched through 911 is the Paris Police Department.
The only one that is not, okay.
Countywide, fire, police, ambulance, it's all through the county except Harris PD.
But I do want, I mean, if you don't mind me, I'd like to make sure that all board members understand the difference between the statutory requirements of 911 dispatch versus police and fire dispatch, and that's where a lot of this stuff, I mean, police dispatch, where a lot of this gets muddied, is like, there is no legal obligation from the 911 board to run license plates and give that information back to the police department.
That's correct.
But when we mix this to a combined dispatch center as a county board, you know, and you talk about a combined dispatch, and you're talking about police, fire, and all that stuff. So the 911 board versus a county board versus a sheriff versus the police chief overseeing it, you know, it's gonna get really muddy. And we tried this 12 years ago, or 10 years ago, and we had those meetings, Samantha, and I agree with you. I think that those meetings need to be transparent. However, when you're strategically talking about people's livelihoods, there's all these rumors that get out there, and if you don't start with some of these just transparent talks that people are afraid to say publicly because they'll be on a witch hunt, you know, it's like, if it's recorded 911, or Watchdogs put the one meeting on there, but they didn't put the negotiations meeting on there from the last 911 meeting, right? So when that stuff gets out there in the public, then a lot of rumors get started, but I understand that, you know, the request for transparency in those meetings, and I'm sure there will be. And that's why I'm staying involved, because we're passionate about it, and I'm very passionate for being on both sides of it.
I've been to some of them. I think there's a couple of people that are missing at the meeting. And Adam Webb, I've been very vocal about that. Probably Jesse too, maybe him. And I think if you start something, you first have to talk about it from a 30,000-foot view, and then split it up into sections that are manageable with different members that decide what has to happen. Those would be the experts. We're not to that point yet, but if you had your way, if you had a choice, who would you involve in those meetings? I'm not trying to put you on the spot
It's not,
in
it's
any
not
way,
my
shape, or form.
choice. I'm saying, when there is a public health board meeting, I, as a county board member, know that that public health board meeting is occurring. When there is an ETSB meeting, I know that it's occurring, it's a posted meeting. I'm just saying, I believe passionately that those should be posted meetings, because this involves public at the end of this. It is our public calling 911 or calling for a service for help, and so they should be made aware that there are meetings that are occurring about this.
Wholeheartedly agree.
That is all that I'm saying. I'm not saying who should be involved or what should happen, or obviously, you know, I'm for joint dispatch. We've tried to get this off the ground for, I'll say Troy 10 years, I'll say 10 years. But at the end of the day, like, I'm looking at it from the public's perspective and the constituents that said, hey, she needs to be on the county board, that are calling and saying, hey, how come I didn't know about this meeting? And I have to say, I'm sorry, I didn't know about it either. Let me find out a little bit more information and I'll get back with you, because that's what I do. But when I don't know about them and I don't know who called them or who to call and talk to about them, I have no idea.
Again, I'm an attendee.
Sure.
I am very interested in it. I think it should be right. I think we should have joint dispatch. But I also think that there should be probably 10 people that split it up and then give responsibility to the experts that can really make the decisions with the knowledge to know how to. I don't have any idea of anything that you are aware of at the hospital.
Okay.
I have very, comparatively to him, I have like zero experience with this. He knows a lot. And so does Troy. But from a high standpoint, we know that we need to involve these people and then keep the meetings moving in a forward direction so that we can get it accomplished. And if we choose, I'd say 10 people, and we don't have to do it privately by any means, but if we choose 10 people and then we can split it up into sections and then involve several more people that can get the job done and really know what they're doing, I think that's where we're starting at. We've just started the talks. And I've spoken to you about this, so you know that I'm very interested in getting joint dispatch done for the safety of Figure County. I mean, we have a big building over there with the Public Safety Center on it. I don't want a problem like this to exist in the future, so anything that we can do to avoid that, I'd like to do it. And I'm not making excuses for anybody. I just wanted to tell you my thought.
May I address the board, Mr. Chairman?
Absolutely.
Sorry I didn't do that.
Well, Troy referenced this conversation having came up over a decade ago, but I remember a sooner time, in 2021, early 22,
Right.
when this surfaced. And I would like to take the opportunity to do just a little bit of fact checking, because in our most recent 911 board meeting, it was expressed by Carl and Jeff that at the time it was discussed, we mutually agreed that it was necessary and it needed to happen for a variety of reasons that are back at the forefront once again. You guys alluded to the fact that the sheriff was on board with it. No, he wasn't. You guys said he was on board with it at the time, and I have heard you say in a recent meeting that he was in fact one of the biggest obstructions to the process. And
I said that?
No, sir, you did not. So maybe we're in a different place now, and his willingness to at least entertain the conversation is changed. But from my perspective, I find that somewhat hard to believe, because we have had many meetings that I've been party to about this very topic, but there is one common denominator, in that the elected official who is charged with the responsibility of that function does not show up to speak to issues that exist and have, case in point, where is he this evening?
He's attended these meetings, the two meetings, the sheriff has.
Which meeting?
The one that we were just
Held by
referencing.
Rich.
The Rich schedule.
Okay, so, I mean, would it not be reasonable or appropriate for him to attend 911 board meetings or any other meeting that involves the dispatch function of the sheriff's office, primarily 911?
I've asked him to.
We both have.
Yep.
And that is a common theme. I
Right.
do hear that, I think, almost every meeting that I attend. And the response that I usually get when I ask, is he going to attend, as well, he was invited. So I'm curious why it is he just elects not to show up.
I don't know.
We do not control the sheriff. He's.
Who does?
The taxpayers and the voters of this county. He is a, if you please elaborate,
He's an elected official. Can't,
he is not
Can't-
even a county
demand that the elected officials do certain things in their office, they control their own operations. I mean, frankly, I don't know why you want to show up to a 911 board meeting. I understand that he's involved in 911. It would be a pack of wolves, to speak frankly.
Like this.
If there was direct animosity towards the sheriff, he recognized that he's on his last term, last year.
So you're saying he's gonna run and hide away from conflict?
I
Is that what I'm
can't
hearing?
speak for him. I can say that I could understand why.
May I have a few more minutes of your time, Mr. Chairman?
Absolutely.
You all have a resolution before you. It's up for discussion that was brought forth in a prior study session. Now, a lot of what you guys have heard and a lot of what has been discussed over the last few months has been isolated to dispatch. But the problem, it goes beyond that. So for you guys to entertain any further discussion on this resolution that was introduced, I think it's probably appropriate that everybody has a clearer picture of what's being referred to here. And it's for the benefit of the members of the board that weren't party to what I'm
Are
about
we
to
gonna
allude to.
rehash a bunch of stuff about the sheriff here? Can I ask
Yeah.
the state's attorney, is that appropriate?
Could be part of public comment, but
Well, if you would
I
like
mean,
me
you
to not
just-
retroactively
you were-
exercise public
you were-
comment, then I'll do it Wednesday.
Well, the thing is, the reason he doesn't come to the very meetings is, I mean, I wouldn't wanna come and hear all the litany over and over and over again about what I've done or what I haven't done.
I simply want to educate members of the board who may not be familiar with what happened back then that directly pertains to the resolution before you.
And
What
you have
resolution are, you mean this 911 resolution?
No,
No,
the
sir.
resolution that we're not bringing up.
And I mean, if you'd allow me to continue speaking, I think you may find it informative.
Okay, you have 5 minutes.
Understood. I hopefully won't take up all that time.
That's fine.
You've heard the issues about dispatch. They surfaced in February, but as I just alluded to, the problem doesn't stop there. I'm going to take you on just a very brief stroll down memory lane when I say that in January of 2020, a series of interviews was discovered buried in the archives of the Edgar County Jail under the vague title of Jail Issues. Those interviews depicted a series of events from a now former correctional officer who will remain nameless, alleging that various sexual acts occurred within the jail during his tenure there. Acts that occurred in exchange for controlled substances and other, I guess I'll characterize them as royalties, while they were incarcerated at the jail. 5 different inmates provided the same account from the now former correctional officer. Now, again, remember that these issues surfaced in January of 2020. The allegations into that conduct actually stemmed from June of 2015. There's a 5-year gap there, and as the state's attorney would attest, in the state of Illinois, most felony crimes have a statute of limitations limited to 3 years. You're probably wondering, wow, well, all these interviews surfaced, why wasn't it investigated at the time? Well, therein lies the problem. These interviews would show that there was an internal investigation conducted by the Edgar County Sheriff, which is a direct violation of Chapter 5 of the Illinois Compiled Statutes, Act 815, Section 10, Paragraph B. And if you believe I'm just pulling a bunch of numbers out of thin air, I would encourage you to please fact check me on that. That specifically forbids the sheriff from conducting a criminal investigation into the custodial sex misconduct of his own agency. Now, bear that in mind. 5-year gap, it's beyond the statute. Direct violation of Illinois law. Fast forward to later in the year, an administrative assistant who will also remain nameless essentially used her position for her own gain, and not only did the sheriff acknowledge that this was done, he condoned it by saying that, well, it's not like we all haven't fudged our stuff from time to time. How do I know that? Because he looked me in the eye and told me that. It was an investigation that I personally conducted. And then, again, I'll keep it brief for the grand finale, Mr. Chairman. November 4th of 2025, an individual was in the custody of the Edgar County Sheriff, standing charged with aggravated criminal sexual abuse of a child. He was ordered detained by the court, not free to leave, absent a court order, due to the clear and present danger that the court deemed he was to the public. The sitting official issued a signed document authorizing his release, absent an order of the court. More statutory language here. Chapter 720 of the Illinois Compiled Statutes, Act 5, Section 33-3, paragraphs A1 and 2. A public official commits misconduct when he or she intentionally or recklessly fails to discharge any duty as permitted by law or engages in conduct that he knows is forbidden by law. Now, I understand that I am not an attorney, but I think that fits the bill, the language of the law. And so I will end this by saying, I think most government officials who run for city office, state office, federal office, at one time or another, they do so on the platform of transparency and accountability. They're going to demand it if they're elected. We want this and we want that. What you're hearing from me today, ladies and gentlemen, is transparency. This is me being very open and honest about the experiences that I have had with the sitting official in the 17-year career that I have had in this county in varying capacities, law enforcement, paramedicine, and 911 telecommunications. And so whether or not you discuss this resolution or call it to a vote, you all have the opportunity to at least demand accountability, because I refuse to accept that it is not a, we can't do anything about it. It is not, it's not can't, we won't, is what I'm hearing. And so, Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything further for you.
Thank you, Jesse.
Of course.
Jeff, may I
Anybody
speak
have any
for,
questions?
I'd like to speak for just a couple of minutes. If our primary goal is joint dispatch, and we're gonna have meetings on joint dispatch, if we intend to plan to get it done, we have to stay on task for that, for the good of Edgar County, for the safety of Edgar County, and not, that's a separate issue, Jesse, and I'm not arguing with you on whether it's right or wrong.
What is a separate issue?
Bringing those charges against the sheriff in that way. What I want to impose upon you is that if we plan to do joint dispatch, then that joint dispatch talks needs to remain on planning of joint dispatch. How is it gonna work? Who's gonna run it? How will it work best for Horizon
But
Health?
therein lies the question right there, Scott, is who is going to run it? See, I think we might be missing the point just a little bit. It's the totality of the circumstances, right?
I agree.
As I understand it, we are still looking at giving the ultimate authority of personnel management to the sheriff. And yes, I know I've referenced issues beyond the scope of dispatch, but it is under the roof of the same department.
But if we maintain the focus on that,
My focus
Which
is
is
on
it?
leadership.
which is a sheriff that is gonna be out of office in 6 months,
Presumably.
presumably. That's a separate issue other than designing joint dispatch. I understand what you're getting at, and I understand why you wanna do it.
I'm tired of incompetence
I
at the
understand.
top.
I understand.
It
So
is
we
putting public
design-
safety in the crosshairs,
So our,
something I'm very passionate
so our
about.
primary focus has to be on designing a system that's infallible.
And I think that starts with the county board overseeing whoever's in charge of that dispatch, because of what you said, holding elected people accountable is hard. City police chief might have got his way by ways that we don't know, but as far as the county board, you represent everybody. And you have a very diverse group of people here that can oversee, that are competent enough, that can oversee that board that would oversee 911. But I think Jesse's point of attacking the sheriff and, you know, it's just muddying the waters even more, not getting us anywhere like you said. I mean, put it in plain and simple terms.
Now, I'm not
But what he's
discounting-
saying is we gotta think about who leads the multi-dispatch, and it starts with the county board.
I'm not discounting what you said. I want to make this very clear. If those instances occurred and there needs to be issues that need to be addressed, I agree with that. But that's a separate issue than designing joint dispatch.
We are
to make
talking
it
about a
work.
division of the Edgar County Sheriff's Office. There are 4 essential functions of that office, dispatch included. It's all tied in together if the existing system stays put the way that it is.
Currently, however, if there is a change within the intergovernmental agreement that eliminates that problem entirely, so that the 911 board is more active and more in control of what's going on, and that intergovernmental agreement can be
The
made.
existing
And
draft of the
I don't know how
agreement
that
wouldn't
can be
reflect
made,
that.
you do. I don't know how it can be
He's
made.
talking about for joint dispatch,
Joint dispatch,
having an intergovernmental.
Not the current
agreement.
no.
Yeah, we can throw this out the window
Right.
if we do an
Joint
intergovernmental
dispatch,
agreement.
and I think Paris's police fire commission and the 911 board and county officials should be involved in the design and development of that.
Exactly.
It's gonna be the best way to do it.
That's
The
what we-
diversity that you
And that's
have,
where we're headed.
the only way you're gonna get that is with diversity, but
That's where we're headed.
And a group that can maintain the focus of what's gonna be good for joint dispatch.
none.
That those people, including you, because you do know so much about it. And I need your input on it, I need his input on it, I need her
And the
input on
county
it,
as a whole.
everybody else's, but we gotta stay focused on the goal, the main goal.
Oh, I'm entirely focused on it.
Main goal in my mind is getting joint dispatch designed. Now, if you got a another goal that you want to focus on?
No, I was on board with
Focus
joint
on
dispatch in 2021.
Well,
Yeah.
then I'm on board with it. We're all
I've been
the
on
same
board with it
team.
the entire time, it's what that looks like and who is going to lead it. A reliable leader, someone who is educated and actually understands what is involved in 911 telecommunications.
Understood.
If you don't mind me, Mr. Chairman, I'm not gonna leave, but one last thing is, the reason I brought up about the contracts and going forward is just keep in mind with the county board, going forward with that joint dispatch and anything you put in any contract with any providers could or may
Absolutely.
tie the hands of the people trying to, think about how to financially support the multi-dispatch center. Does that make sense what I just said? So that's all I wanted to bring up, but
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having an open study session meeting, but I know you didn't have to allow all that nonsense or us talking.
Very open.
That's all, we need to have that.
We're trying to generate enough information to get this opened up and have something really to chew on, I guess is the best way. And we'll make adjustments, okay? So, that's not a problem. But as you can see, just from this very instant here, it's not simple. I mean, some people think it's really easy, but it's
It's not
not.
going to be easy. It is
So-
not going to be easy.
And, you know, everybody, you know, you gotta think about tenured people, you gotta think about all kinds of different things, so, right?
Yeah.
So, it's all there. Well, we need to go into closed session briefly. Is there anybody, I'm sorry, is there anybody else have any comments?
Thank you for
Everybody,
listening.
yeah. So, motion to go in closed session for, employee, or, what do we call it?
Oh, yeah.
For employee,
Okay.
Personnel?
personnel, thank you, for personnel. Is there a motion? Andy moves, Russ seconds, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. I'll wait till you're done.
Okay.
All right, so we're back in it. I just want to ask, just so I make sure, is there anybody opposed to joint dispatch? It's kind of like a straw poll, okay? I mean, we're not asking, it's not a total commitment to it. There's a lot of stuff that's got to be done.
Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, has anybody taken a look at other counties' joint dispatch paperwork, documentation to see, so we can understand what a good framework looks like?
Yes, that's been done once, at least once.
Yeah, Jesse has done that.
Not a second
I've got
time.
paperwork for Jesse, and I think Taylor has done some work with
So
that.
there's not reinventing a wheel, it's just
No.
deciding which model would work for us.
It's the little things, it's not the big thing. If we just said, okay, we're gonna do joint dispatch, that'd be great. But it's all the little things like, who's gonna handle this file? Where is this gonna be? What do we wind up with, as far as, okay, we got somebody that works over at the city that wants to work for us, he's got 15 years. How do we work that when he comes in and becomes part of the union? I mean, he winds up on the low end of the totem pole and has to work nights. I'm not saying that's a real thing, but that's a part and parcel of it.
I think, I know you want, if I was the chief of police, I probably wouldn't want to give up my authority on my dispatchers, although I think he does. Wants to give
I'm
up
not
the
sure he does.
dispatchers. But we had trouble when Motley was in charge of the dispatchers. We've had trouble when Jeff's in charge of the dispatchers. I don't know how to make that work. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, in the interim, and again, we have decided nothing, but supposedly Rich and Jeff is he's gonna deputize him, he's in the hospital right now. And then he's gonna start working for the department. We've talked to Taylor, and we want to approach 911 and find out if we can't Shear Taylor, she says she has the time, and maybe put her in charge of 911 operators totally, and then Rich would be a supervisor over that. So, I mean, that's one of the things we're exploring.
And ultimately, I
There
think
has to be.
what I think would work is, you know, Taylor is their immediate supervisor, and they're wanting something.
Yes.
Someone be in charge. Who can we go to? They don't feel like they have that now. So, you know, that's a plus, but we talked about the sheriff, the police chief, the 911 chairman, and a county board member being kind of like a board to oversee this operation, not one particular person, that board. They make the decisions, set up the policies, procedures, you know, everybody has input on how things operate. And, you know, like Taylor, you know, if there's disciplinary issues or something that needs to be tended to, she goes to that, not the sheriff, that board, that group. So all,
Isn't that kind of the 911 board?
no,
No?
no.
I mean, you're gonna put the sheriff on that, I mean,
Well, I don't know whether we are or not.
all right, I guess.
It's
I
gonna
think
be, at
that
some
one-
point, it's gonna be the new board. You know,
I think sheriff needs to be on that.
well, he can be now,
Yeah,
but the current sheriff can't. I mean, he doesn't want anything to do with it,
Right.
obviously. But,
The thing
no,
we need to do is encourage the sheriff to at least let things happen and proceed. And if he shuts down, we're screwed.
yeah. But he has not indicated anything that he's gonna be an obstacle to it.
I keep forgetting. Yes.
You know,
May I speak to that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've done a ton of research lately. And I started, because initially whenever my first thought was, they're county employees. The county board decides where the funding goes, why don't we just pull the funding, move it to 911, and I've said that, right?
Mhm.
Like, we can just move the employees. But in my research, I found out that that'll trigger unfair labor practices suits because we can't sabotage the sheriff's office by pulling those people.
Right.
Yes.
However, what we can do is form a joint dispatch next to the sheriff's office. Now, and this is all figuratively speaking, I'm not saying we build a building right next to it. We form joint dispatch and we hire them all in. We encourage them to laterally move over,
You mean the city folks?
all of them. The city folks, the county folks.
Oh, you mean if 911 took over?
911 would be 911 is the governing body. They're given sole authority. The director speaks or runs day-to-day operations. The sheriff has a seat at the board. It's the only way to do it that will, because maybe they don't want to, we can't take them from the sheriff's office. Maybe they don't want to leave. They want to stay there and be his dispatcher and they can answer the 15 phone calls that he gets a day. But the writing would be on the wall that the funding will start to diminish and come over to the joint center.
And location is irrelevant at that point. It can maintain in the Edgar County Public Safety.
Oh, I
Building.
understand.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about other traps, that's all. I just need time to absorb that. I see what you're saying.
There has to be a governance, whether you call that the ETSB, whether you call that the 911 board, whatever, but there has to be a governance of that. And the 911 director reports directly to that governance, who then oversees those employees, whether they're unionized or not unionized. And then that gives them a way to grieve their director if they're not, happy with the director. They have a governance board to grieve to. And then that governing body sets policy, procedure, training, standards, etc. for that sector.
Let me inject a couple of things here, just that
Mhm.
doesn't have to be discussed, but just to think, if the dispatchers do not go into the jail, we're gonna have to spend additional funds for additional personnel to put, answer whatever over there, because we've only got 2 people in that jail if we don't have dispatchers at certain points.
If they're not there to assist with the operation over there, we're gonna have to hire
Pushing buttons,
5 additional people at a cost of $400,000 to Edgar County.
the other thing you need to think about is, when you have people in the jail, let me ask you, would you want people not working, that don't work for you and don't answer to you in your facility? And if they don't answer to the sheriff, and he can't make them, that's not the right word, but evaluate their
Utilize them at
performance.
times he needs them.
Right.
But I would think that so if you have this governance and you have this board, the sheriff should have a seat at that board, and that's his grievance too. The same way, like, I'm just gonna be transparent here, I should have a seat at that board, or the head of EMS should have a seat at that board.
I agree.
Because
Yeah.
you're dispatching my teams, and if your dispatcher didn't do something correctly or whatever, I should be able to say, like, hey, here's a scenario. So I would think that he would, like, if we wrote that, if the governing body wrote that into their job description, that they would do these controls, etc., and the sheriff says, hey, they weren't at the station, they weren't running their controls on Saturday night, then that begins an investigation into looking at that.
I
For
think
that.
wait a minute.
So you're saying, go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, if the shit's hitting the fan at 11:30 over there next Saturday night, I gotta wait for an investigation till the following morning to get these people to do what they're supposed to frickin' be doing.
Well, that's technically how it works now, because they're unionized employees.
No, the sheriff can, no, there's a closer relationship than that.
Well, the
You're
sheriff
talking
would call-
about having.
The sheriff would call Taylor, or their immediate supervisor, right?
Right.
Like,
So,
it's the
hey,
same thing that happens with me, when they, they blow through a stop sign, somebody's immediately calling me, and I'm immediately going and looking at dash cams and footage to be like, what were they running, how hard did they brake, et cetera, all those things. So I'm not saying that they would have to wait, I'm just saying that the key players that are the high utilizers of those employees should be setting their job descriptions, setting their policies, setting their standards, their training standards, and holding them accountable to what their job description says that they should do. That's what I'm saying. And I do believe that the sheriff should have a voice at the table, because they're gonna be dispatching for sheriff and doing sheriff duties.
So do you think sheriff, police chief, 911 board chairman, and a county board member, you think you need more than those 4 to be that board that you're talking about?
I do, because you have no fire representation, you have no EMS
Well,
representation.
That's because, that's why we have the 911 board chairman there. He's representing all those agencies that they answer
What?
for.
I think that's
What is
just
the holdup of
unnecessary.
just having the 911 board do it?
I guess I think they're reinventing the wheel.
Huh?
Why don't you want to,
Because-
Carl, I guess?
because-
Separate conversation.
There's other things, they're just,
See, this is what we get into.
I mean, we need to get into it or we're never gonna get through it.
I know, I agree.
I think the concern has historically been that the sheriff is not gonna have some voice on the board if we allocate things to the oversight of the ETSB. The Emergency Telephone Systems Act the sheriff was deleted from that some odd years ago, then brought back into it.
right.
He has a
He never
seat back
should have
on
been
that
deleted,
board, but I think that there was some mention just made of only having 4 members on this ETSB. That is not allowable, that you have to have a minimum
It ain't,
5.
it's not an E ETSB.
We're talking about a separate governing body that's gonna oversee dispatch that is not the ETSB.
Yeah, that's what he's proposing. is a
See,
four.
that's-
With an intergovernmental agreement between all those organizations.
I think we got too many organizations.
Carl, I hate to, I don't wanna make you mad, but I think any more convolution in the system is gonna create more problems.
Anymore.
We have a
If
mechanism
you
already
have
in
a
place for the E
If you
ETSB.
have a small board that's an interim of
If the sheriff was on
911
the
board.
911 board,
Yes.
then you could have a subcommittee that handled that,
Correct.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You could.
And there'd already be a board member, a county board member there, right?
correct.
There's a county board member,
Yep.
the sheriff,
There's fire representation, there's EMS.
And nobody's
representation, there's-
suggesting
Is
the
that what
sheriff
you're
should
talking
not
about?
have a seat on that board.
No, I think
Oh, no,
everybody
I-
is suggesting he
I'm
does.
not saying he has to be.
Correct.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is correct,
But I
yes.
mean, that solves the problem if you get a bad one elected. I mean,
I just think we
That
would
also-
think out of the box.
That also
That's-
takes that equation out of that, because now our problem is he's an elected official. What do you do to reprimand an elected official? You can't.
Right,
But if you give him a say-so in that whole pool,
Yeah.
then he can handle the situations diplomatically through that whole pool.
Or he just tucks his head into his shell and doesn't, but the board still goes on through with the fucking decision.
because I'm mistaken at the meeting the other day.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Tim.
That they said, us and 2 other counties, when something was suggested about contacting others to see how they do it, and us and only 2 other counties do it the way we do it.
That's what the sheriff said. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that we gotta do something just because the
No.
majority does
Right.
it, but is there a reason why the others doing it the other way?
because of this, because there's been issues and not the right people are at the table, or there's not been, they get so far behind the times, right? Like rightfully so. I'm not an expert in dispatch. If I became the sheriff in November, I would have a big, huge learning curve. And I'm not saying that the sheriff should have that learning curve, but that, there should be a delegation of authority to somebody who is that. And that just hasn't happened historically with any sheriff that we've had, really.
I've
So-
said there's a huge learning curve from the meetings I've been to here at
Sure.
this point, it's overwhelming,
Yeah.
you know, so if I were to be thrown in, not thrown in as sheriff, but elected as sheriff, and I've gotta then step in to learn this and this and this, whereas if you've got a board making those decisions, you know,
It continues.
I can lean on all you guys, you know.
And I
come
think
to
it
some-
gives the dispatchers a place where they can come to. And like right now, they're begging that they don't have anywhere to go to or anybody to say, you know, they don't know who to go to. Well, this gives them a voice at the table, right? Like it gives them, they can come there and hear what's being said. It will be on camera, they can watch it. Like that should be for their protection.
It also helps the sheriff quite a bit too, because it removes a considerable amount of effort on his part not to have to manage those people in that way.
Correct.
Are they sheriff's employees?
They're
And
county
they
employees.
currently are, yes.
Currently.
Is that what we're talking about?
So,
No, we
Phil
transfer
really
them.
knows.
I think they're talking about transferring them to becoming 911 employees.
We're hiring 911 employees in the hypothetical. 911 employees hired by the ETSB. The sheriff's office dispatchers are invited to apply if they decide to. We are not defunding the dispatchers, and it may be the most expensive way.
So then the ETSB is gonna take on all the costs associated with the employees, correct?
There would have to be an intergovernmental agreement where the county funds
Yeah, and the city.
the
Like
funds.
Vermillion County, okay?
Or everybody funds it based on a
911
percentage.
Hold on,
board
hold on.
handles them. And the city
Here's
of
my key.
Danville
Shut up.
writes a check and the county writes a check.
Mhm.
I don't know whether it's 50-50, it could be 40-60.
But yes, the ETSB would take on all those responsibilities and they would try to get the city and the county and whoever else to kick into their pot to run the operation.
Mhm.
I mean, that's kind of what some of these other counties do.
If I was city of Paris,
Look at that.
They
We
would-
circumvented your lawsuit.
Well, in a way, the county though, even if they became 911 employees, they would have the option, well, they would be covered by IMRF through the
They'd
county
be county
still.
employees.
And all the liability insurance would still be tort, and all of the, work comp and And insurance could still be under the county policies,
Yeah.
okay? And then they would reimburse us just like highway does and for that. I mean, it's doable, it's just, is that what we wanna do?
I don't know how you do it any other way.
I don't know how you do it any other way.
That's,
It's the most fair and
I know,
equitable
Carl, you
way.
don't want for the sheriff to have to be able to give that up, but also.
Not in his facility and not because they're doing.
It's not his facility over
this-
here.
This is gonna.
Do
it's gonna
what?
be a-
This is the Edgar County Safety Building over here. It says on the side. It doesn't say Edgar County Jail on it.
I've worked
That's
in
what
other,
it is.
but I've worked in other organizations where there might be an overreaching entity, which would be the county responsible for that building ultimately. You write the checks. But not everybody that works within a facility or a structure or an organization reports to the same person.
That's,
Right.
that
So-
happens everywhere.
Right, so
Right.
to say that everybody within that building has to report to one entity or one person, being the sheriff, that's not a model that exists everywhere. That's just the way it's been here in Edgar County. So,
We need to find a way that will offer us the best operation. Nothing is foolproof. We can't make it bomb-proof. But we need to get to something where we get the most continuity, the best chance of having continuity in the long run.
Let me
And the
just,
system we got now, it is not that.
let me
But at
give
least it-
Carl a separate example. So, excuse me?
Nothing.
If Taylor had an issue with a sheriff's deputy that came in and sat in dispatch and was being inappropriate or whatever, she doesn't have jurisdiction over that deputy, so she has to go to the sheriff and say, or the chief deputy and say, hey, can you investigate or can you look at this? This wasn't appropriate, this deputy wasn't doing their job, okay? It's no different than the sheriff doing the same thing with the 911 director and saying, hey, I've got a seat at your table, but this dispatcher wasn't doing the controls correctly, or this dispatcher, put my deputy in danger by not, answering the call appropriately, et cetera. So I think that there's mutual oversight, because you're giving a structure of chain of command there.
The chain of command would go to that 4-member, or ever how many, 5-member, 6-member.
And there could be a subcommittee of the ETSB that is a personnel committee that the sheriff sits on. But I don't think that a 4-person board, it gives you, first off, it has to be at least 5, but I don't think it gives you
Why
a
does it have to
good,
be 5?
By statute.
by statute.
Well-
The oversight of the 911 center has to have, report to the ETSB.
This is not the ETSB board. That's separate.
Right, but if the employees are ETSB employees.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that totally changes it.
Yeah,
If
then I
they're-
think that there should be a personnel
Well, yeah,
committee
yeah,
that the
if-
sheriff could sit on.
I
Yeah,
understand, but I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying, I don't necessarily agree with that.
I mean, is
but-
there not power in numbers to have a majority of the body making decisions, some of which who comprise that body might be a little more educated on a subject matter over another versus having the existing structure of one guy making the decisions in a world where he doesn't
Well,
quite
I'm
have the
not
experience?
in favor of one guy. I'm against the one
yeah,
guy.
he wants a
Okay.
4-person, four bosses, basically. And I think that that's really muddy for the
Well, then,
employees.
but with the ETSB, you got 7 bosses.
No, they have Taylor, and then if they don't get the answer that they want through Taylor, then they have a personnel committee of the board and the board to come to.
Does it not make sense to have a 911 director with some sort of jurisdiction of personnel over 911 function?
You can fire. Yeah,
Do what?
that you can fire.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I look at the whole thing, I don't want the next board to worry, to have to run into this same situation
Or
again.
2 boards from now.
Or 2 boards from now. I think you need to make it bulletproof so that it runs and it will run
Has the best chance of being consistent.
and with the least amount of problems. And we've had nothing but problems ever since I've been on. We had Motley, and then we had Jeff, and we've had issues. And we're hoping the next guy's better. I know.
Yeah.
Well, let's fix it, so it doesn't
So
matter.
Well,
fix
yeah,
it. So
we're trying
fix
to
it,
fix
so we
it.
don't
I
have to
agree.
worry about that.
This is how we
Because
fix it.
the next
And then-
one after him may not be better,
That's right.
That's right.
and it's
And it could
fixed.
be worse.
Or you can have an ETSB board that has as many members as you want it to, and you have an executive committee, and your executive committee are
Yeah,
the ones that actually run.
And I-
That's what I was trying to get across, like have a personnel committee and executive committee, something that runs that.
Right, so you can
piece of
have
it.
as many people as you want on that big board, but you have a smaller actual
Nine, I think nine
day-to-day.
is statutorily the most that they can have.
So then how do we, where do we fall in? We, meaning the county board, where do we fall into that?
What does that mean?
They have, you guys have a seat at the table. You
Yeah,
guys,
it says right in the law that a county board member should be in.
One county board.
Can be,
Can be.
can be. It doesn't say shall be,
And
it
I
says
think
can
We
be.
would just set it up that way.
We
so
would set it up
that-
that way, and we could set it up to where, according to what our structure is,
Right.
shall be, can't we?
Yeah. A county board definitely has to be,
I
needs to
think
be
so.
on there because there's so much, you got the budget issues, you got,
Yep.
just, you gotta look at the big picture as far as the liability to the county, protect the county. Because, the ETSB is an arm of the county, we appoint the
Right.
ETSB board. So, we need to be watching them and make sure they're not doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Because it affects the county that we're responsible for.
Then do we put the state's attorney on it, or do we just hope that he attends the meetings?
Don't wake him up.
He was trying to hide back there.
I think once you have the governance and the oversight, I really think all of the issues are gonna, I know everybody has their own feelings that are passionate about this, but I honestly think if you put the structure and the governance there, the issues are gonna resolve themselves, because everybody at this table has full faith in Taylor and how she has handled the instances that have already been occurring. And so I think if we give her the appropriate, or her replacement, whoever that shall be, if
Right.
we give them the appropriate tools and resources, they're gonna be successful in their job. I don't think anybody ever comes to work, with the exception of a couple, come to work and say, I'm gonna screw something up today. I think most people come to work and say, I'm gonna try to do my best. And I think anybody's gonna do that as long as they have the right leadership and the right guidance. And that is what this structure is setting. It is setting a leader, and it is setting a structure for the leader to follow.
Yes.
Right.
So we just, as these meetings are scheduled, please feel free to give Rich Wilson my name and number if he wants to invite me to these meetings, but
He's called you, hasn't he?
I would love to be able to have, some discussion
He said he'd
about
talk to you.
a structure and a guidance and helping set policy
No,
for
but to
how
talk
these,
to you.
how these
Just straight
dispatchers
up
are gonna
talk
be
to you.
trained and what their requirements are. I mean, obviously that's Taylor's job, but I love to be able to help in any way that I can. Even if I'm not on the board, I would gladly help. There are so many laws, rules, regulations that it's hard for one person to keep up on, and anybody that can help with that is just an asset to
Well,
the
it's gonna make
community.
your job easier too.
It makes all of our jobs easier, and
Right.
it helps keep our public safe, and that,
That's
To
the
speak-
number one thing.
to speak to
that we should
exactly
be
what
concerned
Jesse
about.
said was,
Right.
that is why we are passionate about this, because we live, eat, breathe, and sleep this
Yeah.
every day. And we put people out on these streets to care for the public, and we can't sleep if we know that they're unsafe.
Everything begins and ends with 911. Not a
Always.
single arm of public safety can do their jobs and do it well without having something functional up there that has structure and oversight.
Yeah.
So does anybody motion to create a committee to create joint dispatch? Or to
We
begin
have a
the
911
creation?
committee. We have a 911 committee.
Yeah, we have a 911 committee.
I mean specifically joint dispatch.
Yeah, kind of the negotiating committee.
Yeah,
We have-
a
Yeah.
negotiating committee.
That's Jeff, Samantha, and myself.
Is there a, I don't even know if there is another, I don't even know what to call them, Ritchie meeting? Is there another Ritchie meeting scheduled?
I don't know.
Not that I'm aware
I
of.
don't think so.
He's still laid up in the hospital.
Okay. So instead of a Ritchie meeting,
Maybe we should have. a
could we
committee
identify
meeting like
who to
this.
have at the next meeting and then make it an open meeting?
I
Yeah.
think we should have, so there was a subcommittee of the ETSB
Yeah.
that did negotiations and our subcommittee of 911. I think that's a great place to start. And
Please.
at least
She's had
begin.
you, Adam, and Terry?
Terry, correct.
Okay.
Mhm. Don't you think that that's a good three people off that
That's a
board
good
to
one.
at least start having those?
Yes.
And we can look at maybe like the first week of June-ish, cause their meeting is next week. And we need to get through this intergovernmental agreement. And then we have a board meeting this Wednesday, theirs is next week. And then the following week is, a holiday. And then, so the first part of June, we can set a subcommittee meeting. I'm happy to put an agenda together if you think it's appropriate.
Well, I had a question.
Sure.
We talked about a lot of good things right here in the last, 25 minutes? Wouldn't it be nice just to expand what we've got here?
That's what I think I could put an agenda together for.
And call it we could have a special meeting. It'd have to be a special meeting. That way as many,
Right.
any board members that wanted to come
Right.
could.
Yep.
And invite Rich and
Yep.
911 board members and,
That's what I was proposing.
oh, is that what?
Yeah.
It wasn't that I wasn't paying attention.
No, I probably just didn't say it clear enough, but that is what I'm proposing.
But I mean, we just have a special meeting.
Yep.
Just,
And 911 board members?
Anybody
The whole
come,
911,
you
okay.
just,
What are we gonna
if
have?
we want
We have to have a
everyone-
special meeting because of our group.
So,
Okay.
on that side, do they, if 911 board members come, but there's more than,
They'll have
say,
to post it too.
they need to post it too?
But
Yeah.
I can share the agenda and I'll share it with Augie.
We've
and
done that.
They can we've doubly posted.
The two
this
negotiation meetings we've had have been posted by both bodies.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
And it's just-
Sam, is there any way we could do it just a little bit earlier than that? I'm gonna be gone for a week in June, and I don't know exactly when.
Nope, sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna mess it up.
We can zoom you in.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
I leave for Alaska on the 22nd.
Oh, no, I'm
you bet.
thinking,
June.
I'm thinking like June
May.
1st,
Oh,
2nd, or
May.
3rd.
I won't be back until the 5th of June.
5th of June is when you'll be back.
June 1st, I have a,
So you're looking the week of June 8th?
So that, we have a study session that day in the highway meeting. Could we do it before that,
Like 3 o'clock?
June 8th?
Yeah.
Or
If we do it
after?
after.
Well,
That might be, it'd be this time.
Because
We
it
could
doesn't
do it-
usually last this long.
No,
You
and if
know,
we know
and we
we're
just,
going into
yeah,
that. we
just
can-
focus on
like,
getting
do
through
it at
our
6
agenda.
o'clock.
Well, none of this was a waste.
No, absolutely not. But we could do that like at 6 o'clock, have
Yep.
our board meeting 5 to 6 and that to follow. Would that be, then if, does that
that's
work
fine.
in your schedule, sir?
You just coordinate that with
I'm gonna
Augie
be in
over there.
Kansas City,
My
Kansas.
62nd
We'll have to
birthday.
have-
Can I call you
Listening to 911.
Now, Rich was talking about having a meeting at the end of this week.
Why don't you just, or I can do it, tell him that we have, that his meeting's got something going and we have transitioned them into open meetings and it will be scheduled for a
And
special
let the
meeting.
chief know, so the
Yeah.
chief should be here too.
Well, he's a member of the 911 subcommittee, so hopefully he'll be
Oh,
double.
that's right.
Unless we transition this meeting at the end of this week into an open meeting and these people can come.
What we can is, as far as, we could do it as a committee meeting, yeah.
That'd be great.
We could
do
We
that.
could have both meetings. But,
And I don't mean to rush, but I mean, we're on a limited amount of time before everybody moves into this other building, and it'd be nice to have some groundwork laid before we,
I don't know.
I understand that, what'd I say the date was?
I don't know my phone, I know. It's basically
Mine's
like
almost
Rachel
full, too.
sitting over here.
if you guys wanna have a meeting without me, I mean, I'm not
7:26.
indispensable. There aren't any of us that are
The only other
indispensable.
thing we could do would be May 19th, which is next Tuesday, but I don't know if that gets the majority of people. Jeff, are you gone then? You were here.
I can definitely attend that.
No, we can try the 19th.
When?
What's your schedule like, Chris?
Well, I'll make whatever work.
Tim?
Whatever.
Can we do
Like I
the
said,
afternoon?
I told him
Is
my phone
it
died.
easier to do afternoon, even like early evening for
We
you
need to
guys?
get, Adam.
If we did a 4?
For, you talking about for these meetings that we're
Yeah.
discussing? Yeah.
We're gonna have it in this room? Can you get everybody in here?
Well, we almost have to,
Okay.
because, the way the other one's set up, the public safety, or the,
We can meet here,
yeah.
We're talking about the next week, the 19th.
May 19th,
Yeah.
4 o'clock?
4
I'm
o'clock,
We don't want that down.
4 o'clock,
And I'll let Taylor know so she can post her agenda.
it's a Tuesday.
Or still, I don't want board
Russ,
members coming
good?
to that. Yes.
And I assume that there'll be more than 3 of us here, so if we have 3, that's a majority of the quorum, so we have to post it.
You will post
Okay,
it.
as a special meeting,
Special
not just
meeting,
as a
and
committee
You
meeting.
want
Special meeting.
you guys to,
So I need the agenda,
Oh.
so Wednesday I can get 3 signatures,
Okay,
if you can get something
I
to
will
me.
email it to you tomorrow.
Well,
Yep,
Just
I'll
by
email you
Wednesday
the agenda,
morning.
because
Then
I
I
won't
can
be
get
there
it.
Wednesday,
yeah,
Philip,
so.
is that all right with you? And you don't have to be here, but we sure appreciate you being here.
I will plan on being here. Right now there's a jury trial scheduled, but Lauren's handling the trial, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, does that work for your?
Very good.
And
I
then,
feel a lot better than waiting until the 8th.
yes.
do you want me to,
too.
email the chairman of PTSD and let him know, or do you do that, or Philip, do I do that, do you do that? That we're,
Philip won't do it.
that we're gonna ask for this special meeting with
You guys
members
go
of their
ahead.
board?
I would
Can
have you do
Jesse,
it.
can you
Okay.
handle that?
Absolutely.
He'll
Yeah,
handle
I'll
it.
just put it in writing for him too, because he's
And
on
then you just
bereavement right now.
email whatever you need to email wherever it goes.
Let's start at 4.
Started at 4.
4 o'clock right here.
I hate updates.
Are we ready? Motion to adjourn. Russ moves, Andy seconds, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Russ, you want sheets for lights?
I want to see how those lights doesn't work.